a command line invoice generator. With this project, we'll be able to input details like product name, quantity, and price, and then generate an invoice with the total cost or total price. So we're going to start by defining the function that is going to generate this invoice. So I'm going to give it a name, generate invoice. So we have DEF, generate invoice, as the name of the function. The next thing we're going to do is to print a welcome message. So here we have print and we have welcome to the command line invoice generator. Then afterwards, we're going to initialize an empty list to store the items. So here we have items is equal to, and then we'll define an empty list. Next, we're going to have an infinite loop that is going to prompt the user to provide product details. So here we have while true. To prompt the user for the product name, we can have product name is equal to, and we're going to be using the input function for this. So here we have input, and for the message, we can write enter product name. Next, we're going to provide a mechanism to quit the loop. So here, we're going to determine if the input entered by the user is done. In that case, the loop should break. So here we have if product name is equal to, and we have done. So we're going to break off from the loop. So we have break here. Then the next thing we're going to do is to prompt the user to enter the quantity and the price. So here we're going to have QTY for quantity is equal to, and we're going to be putting an input inside of an int function. So here we have int and we have input. And here we're going to provide the message. So the message is going to be enter quantity. The next thing we're going to do is to prompt the user to enter the unit price. So here we can have price per item is equal to, since we're expecting a price, we need to put this inside of a float. So here we have float and we have input. And for the message, we're going to write enter price. The next thing we're going to do is to determine the total price. And of course, the total price is the product of quantity and the price per item. So here we have total price is equal to QTY multiplied by price per item. So this is going to give us the total price. So having gotten the product name, the quantity, price per item, and total price, we can have a tuple containing all these values for a given product. So here we're going to be appending that tuple into the items list. So here we have items.append, and I'm going to be appending a tuple there. So for the first item in the tuple, I'm going to have the product name, then followed by the quantity. So have our QTY, then followed by price per item. So we're going to have price per item, then followed by total price. So here we have total price. So this will go on and on until the user enters done as the product name. So the next thing to do is to generate the invoice. And I'm going to start by printing a message. I can print something like invoice. I can have it in caps. So the next thing I'm going to do is to print the headings. And for the headings, I'm going to print. For the first heading, we're going to have the product, followed by quantity, followed by price, and followed by total price. So here I'm going to have product, and I'm going to be using a tab. So I'm going to be using the escape sequence for tab. So have a tab followed by quantity. So here I have quantity. This should be quantity. Then we'll have another tab followed by price. So we'll have price, then we'll have another tab followed by amount. So this is going to give us the headings. So the next I'm going to do is to look through the items and identify the individual product names with their corresponding prices, unit prices, and the total price. But before I do this, I need to put an underline to separate the headers from the individual items that make up the invoice. So I can have print, and I'm going to be putting a hyphen there, and I want this hyphen to be printed 50 times. So I'm going to put exteris here and put 50. So the next thing I'm going to do is to look through the items in the items list. But before I do this, I need to establish the total amount. That is the summation of all the total prices. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to have total amount, and I'm going to initialize this to 0. Then I'll now look through the items in the items list. So here I have for item in items, and I'm going to be extracting the individual product name, quantity, price per item, and total price. Now I'm going to be getting values corresponding to product name, quantity, price per item, and total from the tuple. So here I'm going to have product name, I'm going to have a comma, and I'll have quantity, which is QTY. I'll have comma, then I'll have price per item. Then next, I'm going to have total price. And then I'm going to assign it to the tuple item, because item is, of course, a tuple. So have item here. Then next, I'm going to print out those values as I look through the items in the items list. So here I'm going to have print, and I'm going to be using an F string for this. So I have F. The first thing I'm going to target is the product name to match with the header. So here I have product name. Then after the product name, I'm going to have a tab, then followed by quantity. So we have QTY. Then after the quantity, we're going to have a tab, then followed by total price. So we're going to have total price. And we have product name here, we have quantity, we have total price, and we did not include the price per item. So after this tab here, we're going to have a placeholder here. I'm going to have a tab here, and this is going to be price per item. So this should be price per item. Then the next thing I'm going to do is that for each iteration, since I have the total price, I can be adding it up to the total amount until I arrive at the overall total amount for the items being imputed in this invoice generator. So here I'm going to have total amount plus equal to total price. Then after this loop, I'm going to print a line before I now provide the total amount. So here I'm going to have print, and I'm going to put a hyphen here and multiply it by 50. Then next, I'm going to provide the total amount and the corresponding value. So here I'm going to put print, and I'm going to be using an F string. So first, I'm going to put total amount, and I'll put a colon and then provide a placeholder where I'm going to put the value corresponding to the total amount. So here I will have total amount. And with this, we've created an invoice generator. So let's go ahead and use this invoice generator. So I'm going to start by calling the function to have generate invoice. And I'm going to be running this program from my terminal. So I'll head over to run Python file. So you can see the welcome message. Welcome to the command line invoice generator. So enter product name. I can enter this as car. Then enter the quantity. I can enter 2. Then enter the amount. I can enter 1000. It's going to prompt me for another product. So for this one, I can call it book. And for the quantity, I can put it as 12. And then for the price, I can put it at 12.50. I'll continue again. Product name, I can enter pencil. And for the quantity, I can enter 12. And for the amount, I can enter 0.5. I'll continue until when I'm done, I can simply enter done here and hit enter. And this is going to generate the invoice for me. So here we have the header for the invoice. We have invoice here. We have product, we have quantity, we have price, and we have amount. And this is the gross total. So this is our command line invoice program.